When did old family home become code for snuffling entity in the dark? I never believed in the quiet terror of dust until I inherited Blackwood. The taxi dropped me half a mile from the main gates, the driver refusing to venture further down the winding, fog-choked drive. He mumbled something about the air being too heavy and sped away, leaving me alone with my suitcase, a dying flashlight, and the oppressive silence of the moor. The manor itself wasn't just old. It felt calcified, a grotesque sculpture of gray stone, draped in ivy that looked less like foliage and more like thick, black veins. The windows were vacant, hundreds of dark eyes staring out over the decaying grounds. My great-uncle Silas had died within those walls 6 weeks ago. A lonely death, I was told, and now, by some bizarre clause in his will, this monolithic ruin and everything inside was mine. I managed to wrestle open the massive oak front door. The sound of the latch withdrawing was like a shriek of rusted metal, echoing through a cavernous, airless hall. The air inside was freezing, but not the clean cold of winter. It was a stale, clinging cold, smelling of forgotten linen and something metallic, like old pennies. "Hello!" I called out, my voice swallowed instantly. I shone the beam of my flashlight around. The hall was 2 stories high, lined with portraits whose eyes seemed to follow the shifting light. I focused on one. A stern woman in a high collar, her mouth thin, her gaze accusing. As my light lingered, I saw what appeared to be a smudge of dampness spreading outward from the corner of her frame. I quickly moved on. My objective was simple: find the master bedroom, sleep, and call an estate agent first thing in the morning. I found the grand staircase. The banister was carved with figures that, in the flickering light, seemed to writhe. Each step I took groaned under my weight, the sound disproportionately loud, alerting the house to my intrusion. As I reached the landing, a sound drifted up from the darkness below. It wasn't a thump or a creak. It was a drag, a soft, rhythmic sound, as if something heavy and yielding was being pulled across the polished stone floor of the main hall, right where I had just stood. My breath hitched. "It's the wind," I told myself, clutching the heavy bronze head of the flashlight like a weapon. Old houses make noise. I forced myself down the long, shadowed hallway toward the back of the house, where Silas's rooms were rumored to be. The drag sound stopped. The silence that replaced it was worse, a palpable tension, like a wire drawn taut. I fumbled with the key to Silas's bedroom door. Just as I managed to turn the lock, I felt it, a distinct, icy breath on the back of my neck. I froze, every nerve ending screaming. I hadn't heard footsteps. I hadn't heard a door open. "Who's there?" I whispered, not daring to turn, the metallic scent in the air suddenly overpowering. The breath came again, closer this time, accompanied by the faintest sound, like dry, cracking lips close to my ear. And then, I felt a weight press against my spine. Not a hard shove, but the unmistakable, heavy pressure of a body leaning against me. My mind raced. A squatter? A burglar? But the cold, the silence, the sheer dread made me know this was something else. Slowly, agonizingly, I turned the door handle and slammed the door open, practically falling into the room. I spun around, sweeping the flashlight beam across the empty hallway. Nothing, just the menacing row of portraits and the deep, hungry shadow. I locked the door, leaning my forehead against the cold wood, heart hammering. I told myself it was panic, exhaustion, and the atmosphere playing tricks. That's when I noticed the room I was in. It was Silas's room, certainly, but it was not empty. Everything was covered in the protective white sheets, except for one item. On the bedside table, uncovered and gleaming under the weak light, was a small, ornate silver music box. I reached for it, drawn by a curiosity that felt less like my own will and more like a compulsion. As my fingers brushed the cool metal, a high, thin tune began to play, entirely on its own. It was a sweet, lilting melody, completely at odds with the terror I had just experienced. I picked it up, intending to stop it, but as the music swelled, The light of my flashlight dimmed, then flickered out completely, plunging me into absolute darkness. And in that darkness, a different sound began. It wasn't the sweet chime of the music box, which was still playing. It was a soft, wet snuffling sound, emanating not from the hallway, but from the foot of the bed, right beside me. And the music box, still in my hand, began to feel warm, dangerously warm. Thank you for watching this video till the end. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment for part 2.